Kublai phi baru kini gilongki khubor bam da kasngi. Menjurang ba ka jilau konrad ki sangmau la pentip ba ka jingelang kabinet ka sngi balang. Kala menjuri lai tili ki mat kentup ya ka jingpen klarit ha ka Meghalaya Forest Authority ang ka jingpen bet ya ka rukam pendon kam ya ki name board ha ki kali sorkar berka one time settlement scheme na benta ki kali commercial. CM loong ba ka jingpen kala ka Meghalaya Forest Authority Act 1981 kalong ban ailat ya ka authority ban pendon kam ya ki pisa ba ai da ka sorkahan na benta ki jingelang. Barki kam jinge trailang hapren ka Forest Department barki District Council. Ka Cabinet kala menjuru ika notification jeng ka Transport Department halor. Kino kinla ban pendon kam ya ki name board haki kali official. Kumshi benta ban penduna ya ka VIP culture ban penbet ya ka format ka basyai. Hakamat balai ka Cabinet kala menjuri ka one-time settlement scheme na benta ki nongnya bat try kali commercial ki basaram ha ka motor vehicle tax, passenger and good tax but fitness fees. CM loong baki penalty khamtam halor ka jingbom renew ya ka fitness certificate kila ki upalat bat long jingban kya ya ki try kali. Ka sarkar kala rai ban pelat khandai po passenger ka penalty halor ka fitness certificate but prapo person halor ka MV tax but passenger lane good tax. Loong bagani ka jing pensuk ka long tang shisim but ontre kam hadu agas arhajar arpendrio. Ula kentu ya baro ki transporters truck owners but ki try kali commercial ban shim kabu ya kani kalat ban penbet ya ki dues but ban one pai shakaru kam tre kam kabaregula.
Good evening to all our friends from the press. We just completed a cabinet meeting and there were three formal items that were taken up today. The first agenda was a small amendment to the Meghalaya Forest Authority Act of 1991. Where basically the purpose of this particular Meghalaya Forest Authority was to help coordinate between the state forest department as well as the district councils so that different monitoring mechanisms could be implemented. And that was the sole purpose of this particular act. And this act was passed in 1991. So it's been there for 35 years now. But this act could not be implemented in letter and spirit because the financial powers in terms of this particular authority being able to use financial resources being given to it by the state government, just basically even to conduct meetings or different programs, was not part of the act, and law department had raised concerns on that, and therefore this amendment is a very very basic administrative kind of an amendment, which is allowing this particular authority to have the provision of being able to utilize the funds which will be given to this authority by the state government to conduct their day-to-day activities, which is mostly meetings and coordination between the district councils and the state forest department and the government at large. So it's a very minor department, but as I said, it is necessary because without that the authority will not be able to function. The second notification was a very simple notification again. It was regarding the regulation of the use of name boards on official vehicles. As you recall that we had come out with an amendment on an SOP, where we had mentioned about the different sirens and lights and other VIP culture that was something that we were all concerned about. In that, we had come out with an order saying that the transport department will define on who can be allowed to use name boards and not. And based on that decision, the transport department today had given the list of different individuals, rather positions, on who can use these name boards and who cannot, and what will be the format of the name boards. So therefore, there has to be a standard format as per designation, which will be now used, and that list was today approved. And the list is there with us, but it's too long for me to mention all the details. But mostly it is the different officials and the different positions at the government level and in the judiciary mostly, and in the administration. So these are the three main areas which, and of course, certain statutory positions from the central government perspective. So that was the second decision that we took. And our third decision was regarding an introduction of a one-time settlement scheme for waiver and reduction of penalties relating to motor vehicles tax, passenger and goods tax, and fitness fees. As you are aware, that there are many trucks and transporters who have been functioning and working in different sectors in the state, in different sectors. And in the past many years, say anything between 3 years to the last 20 years, there have been many of the different transporters and different vehicles and commercial vehicles who have not renewed their motor vehicles taxes, passengers goods taxes, and have not gone ahead with the fitness fees either. Now, this was for multiple reasons. Somewhere the enforcement was not to the point where it should be. Somewhere, the drivers themselves or the owners themselves of commercial vehicles, they did not take interest in actually renewing these. And after the different acts and laws that have come out from the central government, the fees for these kind of taxes are actually quite nominal, but the penalty that is charged on them for not renewing is something that is actually quite extreme, I should say. And just to give a small example to you, that the penalty for no fitness certificate, though the fitness certificate fees is about 1,200 rupees annually, the penalty for not having this is 50 rupees per day, which means if you don't renew it, you end up spending almost close to about 18,000 rupees just as penalty piling up. So you can imagine if there's a truck which has not renewed it for the last 20 years, you have almost close to 30 lakhs of fees that is, that piles up for that particular, 3 lakhs, I'm sorry, piles up for that particular driver or that particular vehicle owner. So the fees, though being rational, the penalties were something that were quite irrational, I should say. And that is an amount that's set up by the government of India. So in our basic calculation, we could see that if you just put the calculation of the penalties alone, especially when it comes to the penalties on no fitness certificate, the amount, if we were to calculate for all the trucks and vehicles, the amount would come up just with the penalties alone at about 900 crores. This is just a ballpark figure we have. And similarly, if you look at the figures for MV tax, it's about 21 crores. And if you look at the figures for 21 crores, and for the goods and passengers is about 5 crores. And as I said, if you look at the figures for the penalty, it's about 900 crores. So we realize that we need to ensure that a rational number comes out to allow these particular trucks and drivers and truck owners and commercial vehicles to actually sustain themselves, but at the same time also ensure that in the future all these commercial vehicles and truck owners are regular in their payments. And so keeping both these objectives in mind, and also keeping in mind that almost you can say 100% of these truck owners, drivers are all local people. They are all our own citizens. And therefore, if you're not able to find a solution to this, it will lead to a huge loss in terms of livelihood and financial stress for our own people. And a lot of them are poor people who have been using their vehicles for many years. And hence, we kept all of these factors in mind, and we came to a decision today that since the penalty figures which we saw, we felt were very high and they are notional numbers. And as I said, they've been just collecting for the last 20 years. We have decided in the cabinet that we will be exempting, as a one-time settlement, we'll be exempting 90% for the penalty for no fitness certificate. 90% will be exempted there. And for the MV tax and the goods and passengers tax, we will be exempting 80% from this in the one-time settlement, which will allow the different drivers and different commercial vehicle owners the at least the space to then be able to come back to normalcy, and will not put financial stress and burden on them, and we will be able to then regularize and monitor the future registrations and future fitness certificates in a proper manner. So this is a huge one-time settlement that we are doing for our transporters, keeping in mind that these are our people, our local people, and this kind of a stress would definitely lead to complete loss of livelihood, and in a way a complete halt to the overall transportation system within the state, as I said, especially keeping in mind our local people being involved in it. Yeah. So 1st of August 2026. So this one-time settlement issue, we urge all the transporters and the owners and truck owners and drivers to immediately take advantage of this, so that they are able to clear all the pending dues, because now they have to pay only 10% of the penalty and only 20% of the MV tax and goods passengers tax. So we are hopeful that this will give a huge relief to the transport sector in our state. So these were the three main decisions that we took in the cabinet today. Number one, we have been very clear that when it comes to the National People's Party, we are very democratic in our process. There is no concept of high command coming in and bulldozing a decision. You will see that in most of the issues and cases that are there, there is always a very positive, critical, and a constructive discussion that takes place before we finalize on anything. And yes, in that meeting, we'll say everything that we want to say, even if it means that I don't agree with you. And that's how our healthy democracy works. And that's how we believe, and the principle on the basis of which we as a party, and even in governance, that we are moving forward. So therefore, let me assure Mr. Pala that he doesn't have to worry about the any kind of cracks in the NPP. I mean, maybe he has to see more of the cracks in Congress. But definitely we are here to work together. But yes, we have our views, we have our opinions. That is natural for any individual. But at the end of the day, we will do what is in the best interest of the party, and more importantly, what is in the best interest of the state. Keep in mind the coming Rajya Sabha elections. We're very clear. It is going to be a democratic process again, and all the party members, all the party MLAs, most importantly, who are going to be the main voters, will sit down and discuss, and then decide on how we should move forward. Number one, the trips that were cleared politically as well as financially before the Prime Minister's announcement, those programs went through, because as you know, programs take about 3 months, 4 months, sometimes 6 months to prepare. So these are programs that were already there in the pipeline, and hence some of the teams are outside and they have gone, because the process was done, the bookings were made, the expenditures were incurred, and as I said, this political clearances were given by center also, and this process happened. So post Prime Minister's announcement, any new proposals that are coming in for any kind of a trip outside are not being entertained. And in fact, I have personally put on hold every single trip outside. And though we have not come out with any notification, but I'm very clear that we have to go as per Prime Minister's direction. And this is in the larger interest, as I said, of the nation. And therefore, we have, as I said, I have stopped all the foreign trips in the past, post Prime Minister's announcement. The ones before that, as I said, have been cleared. So those obviously went through, because already the process was already finalized. But after his announcement, any new proposal that has come for any kind of a foreign trip has been put on hold.
Sir, but there are still officers who.
There, that has been prepared for the last 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, way before Honorable Prime Minister has thing. The bookings have been made during that time. The political clearances have been taken from Government of India. The necessary arrangements on the other side to discuss with the governments concerned from there have been taken. So those trips were already cleared before Prime Minister gave that announcement. But after he gave the announcement and he has asked states not to, send delegations, we have not cleared anyone. So I have received about close to 7, 8 new proposals for thing. All of them have been put on hold.
Sir,
Education is a very complicated and a sticky subject, and there are multiple factors that lead to the PGI ranking that takes place. And for us to be able to, like for example, a simple thing like uh, you know the uh, the number of schools, as I said, that we have, this becomes a challenge for us, because in the same building, there are four schools, but technically there should be just one school, but they have got their own UDICE number, and they are registered with Government of India, and each one then is assessed in a different manner, and the overall performance in each one is then adding up to the average for the state, which in many factors brings down our numbers. It's difficult for me to explain without a presentation, but what I'm trying to tell you is that uh, the decisions we took, for example, the decisions that we have taken to give a structured pay to different teachers, is precisely being done to impact the PGI. Now you will see like small things what we have done when our pass percentage went up. Now our dropout rate has gone down below the national average, which is down to now 6%. Now, why our rate was high? It was because 50% of our students of SSLC failed. So the question of them going to class 12 didn't arise. That impacted our PGI rankings. I mean, there are points for everything. I'm just giving some examples. So all of these factors, different factors, have added. The overall quality factors. Again, I'm not going to jump the gun. I urge you to please do wait for the 2025-26 assessment that's going to come out in the month of June, July. I'm very hopeful that our numbers are going to go up. All the decisions and the works that we have done in the last, especially the last 3 to 4 years, to push up education, we will see some impact of that in the 2025-26 rankings, because as I said, education is such a subject where whatever decisions you take, it's not that you see the impact immediately. It takes time. Any kind of human aspects that are there, all of these takes time to show results. So we do expect that the decisions and the works that we have done in the last, especially 4 years, I expect that we will start seeing the impact of that in the 25-26 PGI ranking, and beyond that also we will see things getting much better. So let us wait. We are working on it. We are aware. We have been working on it for the past 4 years. It's not that we've just woken up. We realize the complications, but we are very confident that the steps taken will have impact. Process. What we to realize is that, as I said, in education there are multiple complexities that are present out there, and each complexity to resolve requires a lot of financial resources, and obviously that is also scarce. So for us to be able to resolve those issues, like a simple thing like the teachers that we have done now, has an impact of an additional 250 crores. So we had to make space for that, but we realized that we had to do it because in the larger context it's going to have an impact in the long run, and I don't want to explain in detail right now how it will do it, but as and when it happens, I will share with you. So it's a planning and a spacing for the next 10 years, that the decision we took today, you will actually see the full implication of that in about 5 to 10 years time. So all of this is of course part of the fact that the education policy was a driving document for us. Then the education policy then led to the education commission, and all these points that have come in are actually going to help us to improve the system. Was for the PGI rankings. And again, I explained to Honorable Education Minister that why we will expect, and we do expect our numbers to definitely go up. I said the full impact, as I explained to him also, will take us about 5 to 6 years more. But as I said, immediately in about 2 years' time, you will see some things changing and the rankings going up. Then, of course, after we explained that part, we explained to the Honorable Minister and thanked him, of course, for the languages in the CBSE. He also discussed about the language aspect on the state, how we need to balance everything out. We discussed about different aspects of NEHU and the higher technical education in the state. So those were the basic discussions, but a lot of time went on the PGI aspect. And in fact, Honorable Minister is sending a team in this month end or maybe early next month to also further examine and look into all the works that we have done and how central government can also assist and support us to improve the steps that we've taken. I have been very clear on UCC from one perspective, and that perspective has been that I cannot comment on a UCC if I don't see the format of the UCC. So UCC is a word, Universal Civil Code. Now, what does that Universal Civil Code mean? And what are the codes that will be universal? That is what I needed to see. And at that point in time, it was only the word that was there in front of me. And therefore, it could be left to anybody's imagination to say that a UCC could be like this, UCC could be like this. So now that we have seen the context of it and how the UCCs are coming out in different states, I'm slightly more at comfort, because if you look at the UCC in Uttarakhand or whether it's in Assam, they're not touching tribal laws. You see, so in the beginning when we had looked at the UCC, it was a thought process. So when people asked me about UCC at that point, I said, no, you cannot have a UCC because we are tribals and our tribal laws are different. So how can you have a UCC for us? So suddenly now the UCC comes out from Assam and from Uttarakhand, and they clearly mention out here that tribal laws are exempted. So obviously it's a different thing then. So when that kind of situation comes in, but still, of course, we have to study things carefully. We would like to see the details of it. Though it's, of course, it's a different state and it's their law and they've made the law. That's fine. But I'm just from a pure political question that you're asking me, that we will definitely read it and examine it. But at least the basic part that concerned us to some extent was that we were worried that our matrilineal system, which is there, tomorrow will be changed, and a national law will come in that will completely change the way the tribals in our state follow matrilineal system. These are the things that bothered us. But then once we started seeing the different laws being passed, we could see that they were at least at least in paper we could see that the tribal rights were being protected in one way. But we'll have to see the whole thing before we can make a full comment.
Does it mean that